Dartmouth is looking for one thing: unique students, one of a kind. How do I know this? Well, literally, if you go on their website, here it says, what does Dartmouth look for in an applicant? Every student we admit brings something unique to the community, a combination of qualities, experiences, and a point of view that isn't duplicated by any other student. They're looking for absolute uniqueness, something that basically they won't see with any other applicant except yourself. This means that personality is extremely important for your Dartmouth application. And if you don't believe me with this, then let's look at their common dataset, which is the document that they fill up to show a lot of the data from previous application cycles. This is the most recent one that they have available. And in section C7, you can see the importance of every single aspect of your application. Everything academic is very important, which not really surprising. But for non-academic, there's only two things: extracurricular activities and character and personal qualities. This is proven through the things that I just showed you and through the types of students that you can see get admitted to Dartmouth. All of them extremely unique and all of them have things in common, which we're gonna go over. Overall, with this information, you could say Dartmouth is a personality school. This means that personality is one of the most important things. And this is because they want a community that's warm and connected. If you think about the geography of where Dartmouth is, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. And the college is pretty small. It's a pretty small college. Because of these things, Dartmouth ends up being kind of like a cult, where you see the same people every day and there's basically nothing else to do apart from the Dartmouth activities. This means that there's a very rich culture that is independent from everything else. And you really gotta fit into this culture. That's why personality is so important, because your personality has to fit and contribute to this very specific type of culture that basically no other college has. As for the common personality traits that they accept and they look for, there's authenticity, humility, adventurous, independent, collaborative, and other quality traits that are similar to these ones. And there's one type of person that encompasses all of these. And you have to be this type of person. You have to be a connector of people. Think about your personal friend group. There's always this one guy or girl that always organizes everything. You depend on them as the glue of the group. They always come up with plans. You always hang out in their house. They connect the group. If you think about it, that's kind of the person you should be for Dartmouth. Those are the character traits that you need. You need to have that adventure, that initiative, that authenticity, that humility, that everyone just follows you. If your application is too formal, too polished, just a LinkedIn post looking ass application, you're basically begging to get rejected to Dartmouth. And you might be thinking, how can I even be such a unique person? Isn't it basically impossible? And yes, it is possible, but there's only really one way or one framework you can use to actually end up being 100% unique. This comes from Alex Hormozi, one of my biggest business heroes, and he says that being one of one isn't enough. You have to be one of zero. You have to look like something that's never been done before. And I love this analogy because 1 divided by 0 is undefined. There's no defined path on how to make this. Being one of one is still pretty unique, right? You have your main activity, maybe your major, you mix a couple of things, and you create a pretty interesting narrative. But that might be something that they've seen before. For being one of 0, you have to become the niche. You have to be the narrative. Think about your pillars, the things that define you, the things that are key in your life. For me personally, is philosophy, business, and tech. Those are like my main pillars. Think about yours and always have them in mind for your application and make sure that all of them are clear in there. Bonus points if you can include some of these things. If you include adventures, for example, you love going out on adventures, traveling outside, being with nature, bro, that works. And it doesn't have to be completely in nature. It could be anywhere else. Maybe business, maybe whatever you want to go into. If you're adventurous on that, you try, you take risks, that's bonus points because it connects with the values that Dartmouth wants. Then, second point, you have to talk about the D plan. How it works, and let me pull this up so we can get the info, is that Dartmouth is one of those colleges, and there's not many of these, this is probably one of the most unique things they have, is that the year is divided in quarters. And you can take some quarters as residence terms, which means staying in campus and like usual college stuff, or leave terms, which means that you basically aren't in college and can do whatever you want, right? You can take advantage of that time to do research, independent projects, work on whatever you want. You have that freedom to actually leverage being, independent on some things and, actual college classes and regular college stuff. They emphasize the D plan so much, and it's such a core part of Dartmouth that if you don't like it, you shouldn't apply. And if you're applying, you should mention it. And not only mention it on the Why Us essay, but you have to explain how you will take advantage of these leave terms to make your career stronger and actually push it forward, rather than, I just like the D plan because I can go home and play video games. Actually think of how you'll use these quarters, of what you will do in them. If you're into business, will you travel around the world to see how businesses work in different places of the world? If you're into social sciences, will you travel and make a research paper on how different cultures view therapy? If you're into chemistry and skincare, will you go and make your own sunscreen? These random things and adventures are what they are looking for you to do on your D-plan leave terms. Then let's talk about their traditions. These traditions are extremely unique, and basically you won't see something like this anywhere else. These traditions also make it so that Dartmouth sounds also kind of like a cult. They have so many weird things. They have the winter carnival, the homecoming bonfire, huge outdoors culture, and they literally own a ski mountain. And if you notice, all of this is outdoors, tying back to being adventurous. And that's literally the reason why the Dartmouth logo has a pine tree in it, why the main color is green, why I'm typing everything in green, why my room is literally green right now. This is the reason, right? There's so much nature, there's such a connection with nature that they literally had to acquire a ski mountain. In my Dartmouth interview, and it's probably one of the most fun interviews I had, I asked my interviewer what was their favorite activity to do at Dartmouth. And they said that they loved going on hikes every couple of months by themselves through nearby hiking trails. And they would go at it for an entire weekend. These traditions and culture are the things that you have to leverage. And don't just mention the traditions that you like because you think they are cool. Say exactly, based on the things that you have, how and why you will love them so much. But be very specific. Let's say, for example, you live in a very snowy area, that every single winter it really snows, like quite a lot. And every year, whenever there's snow in your house, you bring over your friends and you try to create the biggest snowball possible. And maybe put someone in there, I don't know. You can connect that with the winter carnival and say how, with your experience with doing fun stuff in the snow, you cannot wait to attend the winter carnival and do that with your new friends at Dartmouth. Those types of very specific connections make it feel like you are destined to go to these traditions and activities. Like you really fit the Dartmouth culture because you've basically been living it already. So for the traditions, be very specific on why you would like them. And as for the fourth point, and in my opinion, it's probably one of the coolest things from the Dartmouth application, is the peer recommendation, which in theory is optional, but it's not optional. You have to send it. This kind of works like a teacher recommendation letter, but it's not a teacher. As an example, Dartmouth says it could be a teammate, sibling, cousin, co-worker, friend, lab debate partner, classmate, even if they're also applying to Dartmouth. Basically anyone but teachers. Why I think this is so good is because it literally gives you an angle for your application that they couldn't get anywhere else. No teacher can give you the perspective of a friend. You yourself can't really show the perspective of someone that sees you from the outside, and a friend or a peer would know another side of you that a lot of people just haven't seen. This is an incredible opportunity to show those things on your application that are more personal, more intricate, more emotional. Choose someone that isn't necessarily the best writer, but that can show how it's like to be around you. And make sure they describe your character in a very deep, wholesome way. Suggest they talk about moments that nobody else could. Things that describe you in a different way. For example, those random conversations one Saturday afternoon where you just couldn't stop talking about your lives and it was an incredible flow state experience. Talk about adventures maybe you've went through, right? Again, bonus points, adventures. Talk about adventures, maybe camping, maybe other stuff you've done. If it's a friend or a cousin or a sibling, talk about how it was maybe when you were kids and how that has translated and made you grow into who you are today. Maybe even how they've seen you be independent with your things that you've done, or how you've always been authentic and has always been there for them. Whatever it is, this is the opportunity to show that other angle. Most applications are a pain in the ass, but the Dartmouth one, since it's kind of fun and they want to see that fun, you're gonna really enjoy writing everything. Knowing these things, preparing your Dartmouth application becomes fun because you know that that's what they value. Honestly, all of this is extremely important, but again, if you have to be left with one thing in mind as a framework, think of being one of zero, trailing your own path. That's what Dartmouth is looking for. That's why they give you so much independence with the D plan and so many opportunities to connect with peers through the traditions or connect with alumni through the homecoming bonfire. Take advantage of these opportunities and not only let Dartmouth know so they can accept you, but also so that when you get accepted, you actually enjoy the whole thing. Be authentic, humble, adventurous, independent, and be 1 of 0. Let me know when you get into Dartmouth.